Because you got to have faith, or do you?
Get that stuff out of here. It's Southwest Bias.
Welcome into Southwest Bias Live, brought to you by our friends at Gila River Resorts and Casinos. You do you at Gila River. And we're live from Studio K, brought to you by our friends at Circle K. Become an Inner Circle member today. Over the weekend, a couple things happened, but I want to start with a personal thing. And if you have kids, I recommend, if you're listening or watching with them, to mute for the next 30 seconds. All right? I'll give you a second. Now let's go. I had an experience with my daughter, something I thought might not happen for a little while. Don't worry, it's not gross. That she realized that certain things aren't real. She's been questioning a little bit, but she realized fairies, elf on a shelf, Santa, these things aren't real. She had deep faith in it, believed in it, bought into it wholeheartedly. And I looked at it and I remembered that's how I feel about my sports teams. It's how you feel about your sports teams in a lot of ways here in Arizona. You want so badly to believe. You want to think, despite the odds, your team has a 1 in 30 chance, a 1 in 32 chance to win. Those odds aren't good. One team walks away with the trophy. Maybe half the league, depending on which sport, makes the playoffs. And you want to believe. I mean, I did it. I bought a hook, line, and sinker with both ASU and the Cardinals this year. I've done it with the Suns. I mean, you saw me shout, the Phoenix Suns are the best team in the NBA, only to find out they were going to get blown out by the Mavericks in the second round. We're wired to want to believe. Just like my 8-year-old was wired to want to believe about fairies and Santa and Elf on the Shelf, all these things. And they bring joy. That's part of why we do it, right? But sometimes I'm starting to wonder if we just need to look at the signs and accept that certain things, maybe the faith isn't warranted. This weekend, I think we ran into a little bit of that, to be honest. ASU obviously didn't live up to the hype in Mississippi State. The cowbells, or just bad play, got to them. The Cardinals in New Orleans, a lot of the same flaws we've seen. A lot of the same stuff that's taken them down in the past. We want to believe that these two teams have a really good shot. I don't know. I don't know if our faith is going to be warranted. U of A's gotten off to a hot start. You want to have faith that that's going to continue. Well, Wildcat, I went down there. I have a degree from there. I want to believe that, Hawaii and Weber State, that those are proof of concept, that Brett Brennan's going to turn it around. But maybe we got to look at some of the signs from time to time. Doesn't mean the joy has to leave. But maybe a little bit more realism is where we need to be. Maybe I just feel that right now because of what happened this weekend. I'm sure I'll fall back into the trap, like all of us, to carry the flag again and get really excited. This is what it is to be a fan. But sometimes you start to question. Sometimes you realize things are different than you originally saw it. Doesn't make it any less. But sometimes that's the truth. And I wonder if that's what we saw over the weekend with our football teams. But maybe that's just my Southwest bias. Welcome in the mustache behind the Mac, Shane Diefenbach. Mr. Diefenbach, how are you?
I'm fine.
I mean, I feel like that's the way you walk out of this weekend. I mean, you had a rough one. I mean, you watched ASU look like they were going to get the doors blown off them, give you hope, and then rip the rug right out from under you. In a very similar way against Texas, we sat here, we watched the Cards, we were underwhelmed. I know you have an affinity for the Sea Chickens. They didn't live up to your belief there.
I don't need to talk about that. There's no reason to bring that up. And we're strictly talking ASU football right now.
Well, and we will get deep into that into the second half of the show. I did want to bring up something. You brought this to my attention. The Seattle Mariners, one of their fans, correct me if I'm wrong, one of their fans,
Yep.
right? Apparently turned to Etsy for some help.
Yep.
Can you explain to the fans what they did?
Yeah. So, as many people know and are aware of, witches are real and they exist and they live among us. And so now they're like soliciting their services
On Etsy.
and other pay, like what do they used to call that in the newspaper when you'd
Want ads, or I know what you're talking about.
And so you can pay a witch, again, they're real, to curse, to write spells,
decurse, right?
To remove a hex.
Oh, it's a hex, all right.
And that's what a Mariners fan paid an Etsy witch to do over the weekend.
It's worked, right?
The night before the game on Saturday against the Atlanta Braves. In that game, I believe they won 10-2 or something like that. And so everyone was like, oh my God, it might have worked. And the hex being removed was confirmed on Sunday yesterday with an 18-2 victory.
All right. Thank you to Shane from our Mariners update desk. Ding. But classified ads. Thank you, Robert. That was Rob.
Yes.
That was what I was looking for. I'm going to do this for Arizona sports. I'm gonna pay my own money, and we are gonna unhex Arizona teams. That's what we're gonna do. We are gonna break down the Cardinals here and their game in a second. We'll break down ASU's game and talk a little U of A, and we'll talk about some fire that ASU dropped as well this morning. But I am willing to deep dive in Etsy and find us a witch that can break the hex.
I think you cut me off because you thought I was talking about the Mariners. But what I was really doing was I was supplanting the idea that it worked.
It did.
That was the most runs I think that was the most runs they scored all year. And again, off the heels of hex removal. The removal of the hex was so real. The official Mariners team account tweeted out, "Shout out Etsy witches" with the final score graphic. It's a real thing.
All right, so we're gonna do it. That's the point here. If you the biased in the chat,
if you know a witch, if you are a witch, slide into my DMs.
That sounds so wrong. Let us know in the chat if you want us to break the hex. We'll do that. Big shout out to everybody. By the way, hit that join button or hit the link in the chat at the top. Become a supporter today. Join the supporter club. You're going to get some fire emojis. Literally, there's a W on fire, some live like Johnny, other things. Get in there as well. Let's talk about the Cardinals opening game. I was underwhelmed. I don't know if it's fair necessarily. I get it that Kyler, wound up being sick, having food poisoning. I mean, he went on a stream after the game, a gamer stream on Twitch, I believe it was, and said he was up at 4:30 in the morning with stomach issues. I'm not saying he wasn't sick. I just don't want to say any more than that. You can fill it in with the color of your imagination, color being brown likely. And I understand that that's part of it. And Kyler played all right. I mean, it wasn't as if Kyler played horribly. I mean, I thought he was a little uninspiring. I mean, he only had 4 completions beyond 5 yards the entire game. Had that one deep ball to Marv. I thought that looked good, but overall, I don't know if my faith in that, my belief, my wanting to believe in how well that they were, that he in particular, this offense was going to play was real. The offensive line looked abysmal. Let's not try to sugarcoat that. It was not good. Gave up multiple sacks. I mean, maybe Kyler held the ball a few times too long in the pocket, but they gave up sacks. It was not that stalwart, not that thing that you thought was going to be, important this year and a thing you could count on, honestly. I was underwhelmed by them. A 20-13 victory against the New Orleans Saints, a team that is expected to be a bottom feeder. Team that's not expected to do much of anything. Spencer Rattler, who was 0-6 in his entire career as a starter, going back to last year. This was not a game that you were necessarily supposed to struggle in. I know they covered the spread, but they were one hit in the end zone away from that game either going to overtime or being decided on a 2-point conversion at the end. Like this was not awe-inspiring. This was like a leader that isn't particularly good trying to give a speech to rally his team, in corporate world, and everybody leaving rolling their eyes uninspired. That's how I felt about this game. I didn't walk away thinking they're doomed like some people, but I didn't walk away thinking that this team is going to go 5-1 through these first 6 and then win the NFC West. I got all sorts of questions. Lots of questions. Defensive line didn't get the kind of pressure that you thought. Josh Sweat, Calais Campbell, this defensive front that we thought was vastly improved looked very much the same as last year. The offensive play calling, I'll give Drew Petzing a little bit of credit. The shovel pass that Kyler had for the touchdown was creative. The throw deep to Marv was what we had kind of asked for. But overall, it was an performance from play calling. A lot of running the ball, which wasn't as effective as it probably should have been against a team that struggled mightily last year with the run defense. I mean, Trey Benson had that one run that he broke, but I was not overly encouraged. I get it. It's week 1. People don't know who they are. Things change. But Kyler looked average. As Kojad said, one of the bias in the chat, K1 looked like the 16th ranked quarterback. Yeah. Maybe that's what Kyler is. I don't know. Maybe the food poisoning or whatever else it was that he had, the bug, as Jonathan Gannon called it, was part of it. And I mean, we saw him use his legs a little bit more. He had some nice passes, but I wasn't wowed like I was hoping for. I mean, Kyler himself talked about, adversity and how he faced it after the game. Here's what he had to say when it came to that.
Facing adversity, like I said, it's the NFL. It's never going to be easy. How do you respond? I think that we did that well today. With obviously me, being a perfectionist. There's some things that I wish we could have done better. I could have done better. But in the grand scheme of things, what matters the most is you leave here with a win. And we did respond with it. When adversity hit us, we responded. So proud of the team.
I think they kind of responded in New Orleans, but the big question is how will they respond for the home opener against Carolina, a team that beat you surprisingly last year, that knocked you out of the playoffs. Playoffs? Yeah, playoffs. They knocked you out of the playoffs picture last year. And it's how you'll respond. How will you? How will Kyler bounce back feeling better? What kind of grandma's sweater will he wear after the game? I don't know. We'll find out. But my face is a little bit less than it was going into Sunday's game. My belief maybe is a little shaken there in the whole thing. One guy that stood up and stood out. One guy that there's no way that my faith could be shaken. His stock has risen largely. Is Will Johnson, aka Sub-Zero, as we call him on the program. He destroyed Chris Olave. Like to the point where you had to check Chris Olave's drawers because, man, that guy got rocked. Sub-Zero finished him. He hit him that hard. And it was supposedly something that Nick Rallis kind of had pointed out to the DBs, that if they did this, you got to jump it and you got to hit a guy. And he did it. Will Johnson also got screwed by the refs. He had an interception on Spencer Rattler and a deep ball that he threw where he looked like the wide receiver. This kid's got a chip on his shoulder, and he went out there and put a chip on Chris Olave's. He went out there, and outside of, like Jonathan Gannon said, one missed coverage that he had, he played a hell of a game. Only gave up 4 receptions for 36 yards, I believe it was, when he was covering a guy. Will Johnson gives you hope. That was an area where you kind of question, could Max Melton and Will Johnson be the guys at corner? Through one game, that was the question that you didn't need to worry about. It was the other things that made you wonder, did we overlook certain things? But Will Johnson looked fantastic. If you get that for another 16 weeks, you're going to be very happy with the guy you took in the second round. And the defensive front, maybe it gets better when Walter Nolan gets out there. Maybe Josh Sweat needs to shake off a little rust. Maybe they just need to get a couple weeks in this. And yeah, they only gave up 13 points, but it looked way too easy for Spencer Rattler to move that ball. Not a lot of pressure on Spencer Rattler. He looked like Walmart Patrick Mahomes out there. And I don't just mean literally the way he looked. It was actually, he played like a much better quarterback than everybody assumed he was. There's a lot that they got to figure out. I think they will, but next Sunday has to go a long way to restoring some of that faith for us. Yasha says, defending champs nearly lost to the Cowboys. Chiefs lost to the Bengals. Best offense in the league dropped 17 points in week 1. Is weird. Don't worry about it. Yeah, I think that may be the case. There's concerns, though. I'm not going to overlook some of these things. I can be Pollyannic. I could tell you, there's a million reasons. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to lie to you. Michael Evans says, K1, good to mid, never elite. Yeah, I think there's been pockets where you could squint and see elite. I think he was an MVP candidate when they started undefeated under Cliff Kingsbury. But he's got a lot to prove. This whole team has a lot to prove, and I think that was the biggest lesson we learned over the weekend. On the other side of the break, we're going to talk about a team that learned a big lesson in Mississippi right after this. Time to tell you about our friends over at Circle K. Become a member of the Inner Circle. You see the sign right above me all the time. See the lower third when there are ads being read. You want to be a member of the Inner Circle. It's the best club that you can join, and the best part, it's free. There's no membership dues. There's nothing that you owe. All you got to do, put a little information in after you download the Circle K app. Bam. You save 25 cents off per gallon for your first 5 fill-ups. Then 3 cents off per gallon. Then the ESPO level, you know it. You love it. It's 5 cents off per gallon. After that, that's not all. You're thirsty. We all get thirsty. Get your minds out of together. We all get thirsty for a Polar Pop, 79 cents, any size. You want a Froster because it's still a little warm out there? 99 cents. No questions asked, right out the door. That good. They got deals on food. All sorts of stuff that'll come up. They'll even text you deals out of the blue. That's how good it is to be a member of the Inner Circle. So sign up today by downloading the Circle K app. Put in your information. It's that easy. Terms and conditions apply at participating locations. Visit CircleK.com for more details. Talking about branded bills next. Usually I wear a hat on the program. 2 things right now. I'm trying to, try a different look, but I've got a meeting after this. So I didn't wear a hat, but I always have the branded bills hat right here on set. And if I wear one, you're damn well sure it's going to be a branded bills hat because they're comfortable. They're stylish. And they are the best hat that you're going to get at the best cost. You need custom hats? They got it. We got the custom PHNX hat here. You've seen the one with Phoenix on it. They are high quality and amazing. You want some custom apparel? Oh, they got you covered too. They got great apparel as well. And I said to my friends over at Branded Bills, when we were over at their Tempe facility, I went over there and I said, look, I need you to take care of my people here on Southwest Bias. I said, how about 10% off? I said, no. I love these people more than that. How about 15% off? And they said, you got it, Espo. That's how much we love you. So all you got to do is use that promo code BBPHNX for 15% off your order. Click that link in the bio as well. It's a lot easier. Hit that, then use the promo code to get your savings 15% off on branded bills. Welcome you back in to Southwest Bias, second half of the program. Reminder, become a member of the Supporters Club. Hit that button or the link at the top or the join button on YouTube. You're going to get custom emojis. You're going to get custom videos that nobody else is going to see, just you guys. Hit that, join today. It's going to help all of us out here at PHNX. And if you want to help out a great cause, Big Brothers, Big Sisters, hit the donate button all month long. We are helping Big Brothers, Big Sisters of Arizona on our March to $50,000 raised for them. Talking ASU football. I was all in. They started number 11 in the country coming into the season. They dropped to 12 after a okay win against NAU. He saw some cracks. And then the first half against Mississippi State was a complete and utter disaster. Just awful. Is that fair to say, Shane? Do I need to be even tougher on that first half?
No. That was I don't know how you can be tougher. It was horrible.
It was awful. One of the worst halves of football in a while.
It was the worst. It was the worst, like, 28 minutes of football I've seen.
It was brutal. Difficult to watch. Second half, they remembered, oh, yeah, we run the ball pretty damn well. And they did that, right? They went out and they ran the ball well in the second half. I mean, they had two runners in Raleek Brown and Kanye who had over 100 yards, right? A combined 100 or 215 yards between the two. And it looked like they actually were going to make the comeback. And instead, at the end, they blitzed, and they had a similar moment like they did in Texas.
Don't boil it down to that.
It did. I mean, come on. Come on. I mean, at the end, that's what it did come down to.
You just skipped the entire game. And at the end, they blitzed. There were many decisions that led to that moment.
Okay. But in the end, they made the comeback. They fought back. You know, they made the adjustments at halftime, which they've been known to do. And then the defense didn't hold. The defense could have held there, right? If they get the stop, the worst that happens is you get a field goal. And this game goes to overtime. Or you have a chance to win it before time expires. It was not a great look. I mean, look, non-conference game on the road. The new college football makes it where one loss will not destroy your season. But again, we talk about faith. We talk about belief. And you look at that, and let's be honest, that shakes your faith a little bit. That makes you go, okay, is this the same team? Can it be the same team? I believe that Kenny Dillingham can actually change in the way he plays. I'm not going to lie. Change his mindset. I think you'll see more run. Sam Levitt can't give you 10 for 22, 82 yards, 2 INTs, and a touchdown. We heard Heisman, right? That's out the window after that. It didn't all come down to blown coverage. There was a million things, you're right. But that final play, that blitz, that blown coverage is what cost you it in the end. I have all sorts of questions about ASU that I didn't necessarily think I was going to have. We all kind of blew off the NAU loss, but there's all sorts of questions with this team.
They should have never been in this position to begin with.
Agreed.
Bottom line. But the blitz getting grilled is only a result of what happened on 4th and 18 last year against Texas or whatever it was. This was objectively the right call. Or, I mean, technically, objectively, it wasn't because they lost. But in my mind, this is still the right call. So here in the middle of the screen is Xavier Alford. He has the hot blitz coming off the edge from the nickel position. And you have another corner, I forget who it was, coming off the edge over near where the 40-yard line is that you can see. Xavier Alford has his hair on fire on this blitz, but he trips on, I think that's 12, the receiver coming out of his break on the S logo at midfield.
Mm-hmm.
If he doesn't trip here, this is where he got to by the time the ball was released. He not only tripped, but his hands were on the ground. He fell. If he doesn't fall, there is zero chance Blake Shapen gets this ball out.
Huh.
The reason why Javen Robinson got quote unquote burned, like people are saying, is because he's never supposed to hold up that long. Because that is a blitz. There's a reason why he's left on an island out there, and it's because he's only supposed to be able to cover a certain amount of the route tree.
Look, but that's the thing. All these calls either look genius or ridiculous, depending on whether they work or fail. It failed. They're now 1-1.
Here's the real scrutiny: is the fact that you kick a field goal. I hate that call.
Well, yeah. How do you not? Why does Kenny change the way he is there? Usually that's a Kenny Dillingham. I'm going for it. If you pound the rock, whatever you do to get in the end zone there from the 1 on 4th down, the worst that happens is they got to go 99 yards, right? I mean, well, technically they got to get in field goal range, but still, that's not an easy task. But the best is you take the 7-point lead there.
Yeah.
And you put it out of reach, or at least you make it where the worst you're walking away with is going into overtime. Williams says it's the right call. You take the points, you force them to beat you. I take the if he hadn't had the previous record of doing it, maybe not.
I just think with the way that drive was going, and I know you got stopped 3 straight times, but you weren't just on like the 2 or the 3 or the 1. You were on the half-yard line, man. Like, I don't know.
Just pound it home.
I don't know. And even if you don't get it, like you just set up in the same situation almost. Obviously, they only need a field goal, but
look, the weight of expectation in this city, it becomes very heavy. I said that ASU probably had the toughest of all the football teams going into the season because of that weight of expectation. Now Kenny's got to show, you know what? We can face adversity. I can, and this team can, and they'll bounce back. Their chance to repeat as Big 12 champions isn't over. Their chance to make the college football playoff isn't over. Hell, they were in a worse position last year before they made the run. But we're going to learn a lot over the next couple of weeks about Kenny Dillingham and his squad, their resiliency. We're going to learn a lot about Sam Leavitt and if our faith in him it was warranted. Find it out. But one thing I do know is they're going to look really good in October. They released a New Jersey this morning, which, you know what, I went to U of A, you know that, and I've told you that. And I even find these U of A jerseys or ASU jerseys very nice. I think they're sharp as hell. I'm a jersey fanatic, you know it. And these things are clean. They represent a classic look for this ASU team with a twist. You get that, and we'll show the patch here in a second. Thank you to ASU and Adidas for that video, ASU Football. But then you see the patch on the shoulder. It's the classic ASU kind of sunburst look that usually has ASU in it, and they put Sparky in it. You put that on this clean uniform, nothing on the helmet, Sparky on the shoulders. I think this is one of the best looks in college football, and definitely ASU's best look for a team that has a lot of different looks, has gone through a lot of different looks. This one is spectacular. Shane, are you in the same boat there?
Yeah, these are amazing. They're so good.
I wish they'd wear them more than once this year. I hope they bust them out multiple times.
Yeah, they're great.
That is another edition of Southwest Bias in the books. Thank you to the Bias. Hit that like and subscribe before you get out of here and become a member of the Supporters Club. You want to be part of it because you get to see more of me. You get cool emojis. Maybe we'll even get an ahoy hoy emoji here soon for you. You can spam the chat with them. It'll be great. You can follow the mustache behind the Mac at Shane Deef. You can follow the show at PHNX_sports. And you can follow me at Espo. And remember, there's nothing wrong with having faith, but a little skepticism's good too. Ahoy hoy!